Tony Adams came out, joined Alcoholics Anonymous, became what he calls a recovering alcoholic, has never touched a drink since. Wrote a book, then retired from football. He was retiring from football at 32. Had a testimonial match, took the proceeds of his book, proceeds of his testimonial, and started a clinic for addicted footballers and other sports players, and spends his time going around the clubs now and the schools, telling young people who get money too young to be careful, using his own experience to translate into others. Somebody that I had to put in, given that Muhammad Yunus is sitting here in front of me. This is an unusual person, actually, because he's not rich. This is Peter Ryan, an ordinary executive in a French food business, who, inspired by something he saw in the Philippines, decided on his own bat to start a microloan operation in Malawi, following exactly the principles of the Grameen Bank. He started this 3 years ago, put £25,000 of his own savings. He's on a salary, got 2 teenage kids, lives in a small house in Chiswick in West London, not rich. But for him, £25,000 was a lot of money, but enough to start a microloan business in Malawi where he'd had some business connections. 10,000 loans over the last 3 years to groups of women, 98% paid back with interest. I mean, the formula is well established, and it works, in fact, it now has begun to take over his life. He's left the business. He's a consultant to earn some money 2 days a week, and he's become, in effect, like you all, a social entrepreneur, but self-financed. And it's the passion of his life. And this is Mo Ebrahim. Mo Ebrahim was the man who brought the first handheld mobile phone into Britain in the 80s. He went on to found his own mobile phone operation in sub-Saharan Africa, sold it last year for $3.4 billion, of which he had 27%. Mo was a rich man. Mo has started doing various activities in Africa. The first was an interesting one. He set up a hospital for breast cancer sufferers, women, poor women, in Khartoum, in the Sudan. But in order to make it pay, this clinic had 5 stories, to which he added another 2 at the top, luxury offices, which he'll rent out, the income of which he hopes will pay for the clinic. These are business people. They like to build in a sort of income stream to make these things sustainable. Now, Mo has gone last November, did something quite extraordinary, which he didn't tell us about when we met him. He announced the biggest prize in the world. He said, to the African ruler or head of state who can demonstrate that over the last period, up to 10 years, that his country, on a range of criteria, has demonstrably improved under his leadership, and who is determined to leave politics and guarantees that he will leave the political arena. To such a man, and it'll probably be a man, but it could be a woman, to such a person, says Mo, I will give a prize of $5 million and an income of $200,000 a year for life. I suspect the sum is far too small to tempt President Mugabe to change his ways or any of his like. But it is an interesting attempt at philanthropy, of which there have been several indicators in the past. Myself, I don't think it'll work. I think the people who want to do good, whether there's a prize or not at the end of it. But it's an interesting idea. We chose 23 people, chosen for the variety of their enterprises. It was not a research project. We wrote the book in order to persuade other up-and-coming, rich, youngish people to do the same. and in default of a better term, we call them the new philanthropists. So what's new about them? Well, the first thing is that they're youngish, in their 40s. They still are full of energy, full of ambition. Only interestingly, the ambition has changed. The ambition in their still lives is now a humanitarian one of social change. I totally agree with Jeff that no one person on their own can achieve anything. These people have run successful businesses. They know that. But nevertheless, there has to be one person somewhere that has the germ of the idea. Michael Young was Michael Young, even though he gathered around him teams, endless teams of eager people. So they are new because they are youngish. And it's a new phenomenon. Wherever there is a booming economy, wealth coagulates at the top. It seems to be an ironic paradox that the faster an economy grows, the bigger the gap between rich and poor. So what are the top 2% going to do with this unnecessary amount of surplus money? Becomes an interesting thing. And that's happening not just in Little Britain. These are minnows. But around the world it's happening. In Russia, in China, in India, in Latin America. The Templeton Foundation told me recently that they had identified 5,000 people of these kinds of new philanthropists, though I suspect their definition is slightly wider than mine. Secondly, these new philanthropists are different because they're not investing in buildings. They're not investing in their local universities or their local hospitals, I'm sorry to say, or their local churches, as is often the case in America. These people are attacking what they perceive as social needs, and that's different. It hadn't happened before in that way for the philanthropists. And thirdly, they're different because they are DIY freaks. They want to do it themselves. These people are not prepared to write checks to institutions that they do not know. They're not prepared to write checks to people they have never met. They want to start their own operations. And that's a problem for you. On the other hand, they desperately understand that nothing works by themselves alone. They need help. They're not very popular. They go blundering into areas where they don't know anything. And the established parties there, NGOs have said to me, why don't these people just give us the money? We know how to do the job, they don't. But these people are not like that. They want to set up their own operations, they want to take risks, they know they'll fail, but they are experimenters. And some of them are difficult to deal with. They drive hard bargains, they ride roughshod over boundaries, they don't like bureaucracies, they know how to open doors in government and so on. But they need you. And actually, I want to suggest that you need them. Because increasingly it seems to me that the available money for innovation and social change is going to actually be in the hands of individuals, not institutions. The free available money. These people have bundles of money, some of them. And it is free money, it is risk money, it is experimental money, and they want to make a difference. And they don't know how to do it. In fact, these people in our book are, with one or two exceptions like Mo and Jeff, are minnows in this world. In total, they add up to very little. But behind them, there are huge shoals of people with more money than they need, who would like to use that money to make a difference, and they don't know how to do it. Luckily, intermediate associations, what I call marriage brokers, are growing up. Venture funds of one sort or another, advisory institutions of one sort or another, research institutions. Even the family banks in Britain are beginning to realize that they can help. That's good. That's good. But an awful lot of the people that I meet with this more money than they need do not know that you exist. And they need to know that. They need to know that.